The lost village revealed. Hidden behind military fences, surrounded by warning signs, and erased from most maps, lies a village frozen in time. This is Imber, a place that still stands, but no longer lives. For decades, this village has remained sealed off from the world, not because it was destroyed by nature, but because it was taken by war. This is the hidden history of the lost village of Imber. Imber before the war. Before darkness reached this land, Imber was full of life. Stone cottages lined peaceful dirt roads. Smoke rose gently from chimneys. Children ran freely through open fields. This village had existed for hundreds of years. Generations were born here, and generations were buried here. No one living in Imber imagined their village would one day vanish, not by disaster, but by government order. Daily life of the villagers. Life in Imber followed the rhythm of the countryside. Farmers plowed the fields from sunrise to sunset. Women walked the narrow lanes carrying baskets. Neighbors greeted each other by name. This was not just a village. It was a living community. Every wedding filled the church with joy. Every funeral brought the village together in sorrow. And all of it was about to disappear. War clouds over Britain. In 1939, the world changed forever. World War II had begun. Across Britain, fear spread through cities and villages alike. Air raid sirens screamed through the night. Soldiers marched toward an uncertain future. Even the quietest countryside was no longer safe. And Imber was now standing in the path of history. Military convoy enters Imber. In 1943, military trucks rolled into Imber. Soldiers stepped down from the vehicles. Officers carried documents. Villagers gathered in confusion and fear. Then the announcement was made. The village and surrounding land were being taken over by the British Army for live military training. The villagers were told, "This is temporary." The evacuation order. The words echoed through the crowd like thunder. Entire families would have to leave. Homes that had stood for centuries had only weeks left with their owners. Some villagers cried openly. Others stood in silent shock. This was not relocation. This was the forced removal of an entire community. Families forced to leave. Suitcases were packed in silence. Children carried toys without understanding they might never return. Elderly residents touched the walls of their homes one last time. Doors were locked for the final time. Pets were left behind. Fields were abandoned. As the last trucks pulled away, Imber died, not from bombs, but from eviction. The village left completely empty. Silence swallowed the village. No footsteps, no voices, no church bells. The houses stood open and empty, staring into nothingness. For the first time in its long history, Imber had no heartbeat. It had become a ghost. The lonely church of Imber. One building refused to fall into total darkness. The church, standing alone in empty fields, its broken windows looking like wounded eyes. Inside, the echoes of prayers still seemed to linger. It became the final witness to every life that once passed through this village. Imber turned into a battlefield. Soon, the village was transformed. Tanks crushed roads where children once played. Gunfire echoed through empty homes. Explosions shook the ruins. Imber was no longer a home. It was now a training battlefield for war. The village was being destroyed, piece by piece. Bullet-riddled buildings. Stone walls were torn apart by bullets. Roofs collapsed. Windows were shattered forever. Living rooms became shooting targets. Every crack in the stone told a story of violence. A village that once held life was now learning only how to die. The forbidden military gate. Soon, warning signs surrounded the land. Danger, live firing. Behind those gates lay instant death for trespassers. Imber was now officially sealed from the world. The people were gone, and the village was forbidden. Modern-day ruins reclaimed by nature. Today, Imber lies inside the military training zone of Salisbury Plain. Nature has begun to erase what war destroyed. Trees grow through rooftops. Grass spreads across living room floors. Birds nest in broken walls. Life has returned, but the villagers have not. The the silent graveyard. Just beyond the ruins lies the graveyard. The villagers rest beneath the earth, their names carved into stone, but their homes erased from the land. The dead were allowed to stay. The living were never allowed to return. The Lost Village Forever final outro. Imber still exists, but it does not belong to the people who built it. It belongs to war, to broken promises, to history that never gave back what it took. The villagers were told they would return. They never did. And today, Imber stands as a warning.